very moment, there are young people coming to terms with being transgender. Just last month, the body of 17-year-old Mercedes Williamson, a transgender young woman of color, was found in a field in Mississippi, stabbed to death. I also want to tell you about Sam Cobb, a 15-year-old transgender young man from Bloomfield, Michigan. In early April, Sam took his own life. Every time something like this happens, people wonder, could it have been different if spotlighting this issue with more attention could have changed the way things happen? We'll never know. I trained hard. I competed hard. And for that, people respected me. But this transition has been harder on me than anything I could imagine. Trans people deserve something vital. They deserve your respect. If you want to call me names, make jokes, doubt my intentions, go ahead. Because the reality is, I can take it. But for the thousands of kids out there coming to terms with being true to who they are, they shouldn't have to take it. So for the people out there wondering what this is all about, whether it's about courage or controversy or publicity, well, I'll tell you what it's all about. It's about what happens from here. It's not just about one person. It's about thousands of people.
Fucking motherfucking seals.
Do you think Caitlyn in the spotlight can save lives?
What about those little fucking kids?
Absolutely.
They're going to be all fucked up and screwed up and they're fucking not know which way to go.
Platform as Caitlyn has right now. She's probably the most talked about woman in the world today. And to use that platform for good, it's a phenomenal gift. She has this window of time, and for her to be using that window to bring awareness. And Caitlyn said that transgender deserve respect. I think that they deserve understanding, because people don't understand. So, but for her, with this window in time, she can do so much good. And I just have to say, last night, Caitlyn looked like Cindy Crawford's mother. Doesn't she?
That's a big
all the sisters. She really does.
Well, I think that might also help people with understanding, even though it might be like an intellectual issue. There's something about seeing her so comfortable in her skin, whereas Bruce Jenner, when she was she never looked that comfortable. It was always like big white gym socks and bunny shoes. Like, it was almost like she was dressing like a he, and it didn't match. Now you look at her and you're like, oh my God, of course, it's you. It's always been you, and I hope people see that it's such a match. How could it be anything else?
I think Caitlyn is saving lives, but I also think it's up to all of us. All of us who are starting to understand or do understand, I think we need to all speak up. When we hear intolerance or hate, almost shaming that person into like, wait, what did you just say? Let's get to a day where that kind of intolerance is not accepted. You know, you can't tell me that Caitlyn Jenner didn't touch someone out there who felt like, whether that person was a teenager, and we know being a teenager is hard enough. There's bullying, there's mean girls, it's all that kind of, you're unsure of yourself in every way. Or reaching an adult who says, I'm not alone. Thank you, Caitlyn Jenner.
Well, I would say this. I think also when you're talking about Arthur Ashe and why there's an Arthur Ashe Award for Courage is because Arthur Ashe has faced discrimination as a black man. And then he acquired AIDS, and he faced discrimination as a man with AIDS that he got from a blood transfusion from his heart surgery. So he was really trying to illuminate things so that they can be corrected. So that's why this situation with Caitlyn and the Arthur Ashe for Courage Award dovetails quite nicely so that people can see that in time we do learn to love each other and understand each other. But you're right, Julie. Everyone has to stand up and say, if you're a citizen on this earth, it's not just for you to tolerate me. You must respect, understand, and accept me as I live, because I'm a And I've read some of the hateful posts that have been on our Facebook page. Some of them even, targeting like, well, that day when I cried. Why is Julie crying over these freaks? What did I just hear you say? You know what it was? When I watched that interview with Diane Sawyer, I didn't see Bruce Jenner, I didn't see Caitlyn Jenner, I didn't see a transgender person. I saw a human being asking to be heard and respected. That's what it's about. Well, Caitlyn also had a heartfelt message for her 6 biological children, her Kardashian stepchildren, and her mother, who were in the audience last night. Take a look.
Here comes the tough part. I'd like to thank my family. Now, the biggest fear I've always had in coming out is I never wanted to hurt anyone else. Most of all, my family and my kids. I always wanted my children to be so proud of their dad, what he was able to accomplish in his life.
Boy, you fucked him up good, man.
You've given so much back to me. You've given me so much support. I am so grateful to have
fucking mouth says one thing, but your actions are saying fuck you to your family.
I always thought that I got my courage and my determination from my dad, who landed on Omaha Beach, fought all the way through World War II. But you know what I'm realizing now, Mom? I think I got all those qualities from you. Love you very much. I'm so glad you're here to share this with me.
Shit, man.
So here's the question.
Courage, bullshit.
So here's the question. What would be the hardest part for you to deal with if a family member transitioned?
Well, first of all, it's so sweet to see his family there supporting him. I mean, it just makes all the difference in the world, I'm sure.
The fucking freaks!
Her family there.
Supporting the freaks!
One of the hard things is getting used to the, new he, she thing. Even in this, it's just getting used to saying she. But another couple things that would be hard for me would be to feel like I would want to protect that family member from whatever they experience in the world. Caitlyn Jenner is experiencing a lot of discrimination right now. A lot of people saying that she's doing it for publicity, she's doing it for this, doing it for that, it's not real, she's a freak, and all those things would tear me apart. And then the other thing that would be possibly hard for me is, losing the idea that that's your father, or if it's your child, oh, that was my little girl. I can see where for a child or for a parent that could be a difficult thing, but I think that happens anyway when you're raising a child. Even if they're not transgendered, it's sort of a process of going, oh, here's who I thought you were, but here's who you really are, and now I have to love who you really are, which really is more beautiful ultimately.
To piggyback on what you just said, if that happened in my family, my biggest concern would be their safety, especially after everything he just said about the other transgender women who had been murdered. I would feel like, okay, this is what you're going to do. Let's get you some mace. Let's get you some taekwondo.
That's
like,
right.
I would be worrying constantly.
Right.
Okay. What about if you are married to somebody who becomes transgender and you're meant to be married to that person, and when you're married, you share everything, your innermost secrets, and suddenly you wake up one day after being married and that person says, I'm transgender, I'm going to have a change, and this is who I am. I would feel
Betrayed.
hurt. I would feel hurt. I would feel less than, and I'm because it's never happened to me. But that would be the first things that I think a woman or a husband would feel. And also,
Thank you, Sharon Osbourne.
it's really hard on teenage children.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really hard for a teenager to accept. Of course, if you've got parent day or sports day and suddenly your dad's your mum or your mum's your dad, and because of your peer group, the way they are, because people aren't accepting yet.
I think you hit the nail on the head. You don't want to see someone that you love be mistreated, and that's the bottom line. And yes, as a spouse, you don't want to feel like, however many years you've been with this person. As a spouse, you don't want to feel like your life with that spouse was a lie. You don't want to feel that, but I do feel if someone in your family member, you're close to that family member, transitions, then if you're really close to that
They're rich, crazy motherfuckers. That's what they are.
Sense, right? If you know that person.
I don't think you can just go down and just
open to be yourself.
Go to a charity clinic and get it transgendered.
Every step of the way. And yes, let's get you some mates, and until we get to the day that we don't have to do that.
Well, you let an Underwood come out transgender. Underwood stick together. Back the hell off my kin, people. That's what it is. I'm gonna love you all the way through it. I don't care what you are. I'm gonna love you through my hurt, my pain, but I'm gonna love you all the way through it. And I'll be damned if somebody say something about my kin folks.
They're talking about hurting people? What about the millions of families, of healthy families, heterosexuals, where there's a true woman and a true man, and they're trying to raise a kid? And then the kid sees a man kissing on another man. A kid sees a woman kissing on another woman. What does that do to that kid? What about if somebody goes to date somebody and they find out this guy's got a dick 10 times bigger than this other person? To me, this is the ultimate Trojan horse, ultimate seditious act designed to confuse the healthy male and the healthy female, so they don't even know which way to go. Now we're going to have bars where men are slow dancing with each other. We're going to have beaches where men are gobbling on each other and everything like that. The freaks are not only on Halloween now, the freaks are 365 days a year. How is a kid going to know how to attract a mate and keep a mate? This is the ultimate sabotage. The USA is now the